I think one of the biggest accomplishments for myself this year is pushing myself to do more like higher level things, advanced things, and take more risk in my dance.
Putting myself out there more and not shying away from the way I want to express myself, and just owning my movement and owning my expression, and having my own musicality as a follower, and being able to add to the dance, not just by, following the movements that the lead is proposing, but also having moments where I'm really connecting to the song as well.
Yeah.
And embracing where I am now, instead of wanting to wish I was already at a different point in my dance. So that has been super empowering as well.
If you're patient with yourself as a student, as you're learning to become a teacher, I think that will speak in your dance, because it will show in the quality of your dancing. Teaching is another thing, but like you also work on your teaching, and then it will show in your teaching too. Get as much practice as you can into the dancing, into the teaching,
and understanding techniques and movements for yourself, and being able to explain things in your own words instead of regurgitating what your teacher said. So then it has to be like, why are they hiring you if they can just hire the teacher? There needs to be some sort of new way that you put it, or new example that you're giving, or imagery, or there's something about you that sets you apart, from some of the other teachers.
And taking each, let's say, discovery or what was like a failure, and seeing that as a possibility to grow has made things more fun, rather than before I used to think of like a failure as like, I'm terrible, I can't do this, and I would shut myself down, and I wasn't able to grow as fast as I could. And so I think like having that mindset helps training to be a lot more fun.
I see Nhat walk in to like meet the team, and then as soon as I laid eyes on him, I was like, there's something special about him. I was like, I feel like I know him. I feel like something is telling me like this is an important moment. And
Dang.
yeah, I don't know. I didn't even know his name. Like I just had seen him. And so it was almost like that moment,
I felt like, like she's my first girlfriend ever, my first and only girlfriend ever, and not my wife, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, like I felt like I had waited, how old was I? 23, 22 years all my life, trying to like find the right person that like, let's say, fit everything that I wanted. And GiGi is it.
I told him like, I've loved you since the first moment I saw you.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Stats to Assets podcast. My name is Coach Ernie, or Coach E. On this podcast, we have very cool people come and share their cool experiences. So we have entrepreneurs, we have artists, we have athletes, coaches. We have really cool people here on the show that have an expertise and they want to share it. So today we are in our Brazilian Zouk bag once again with some cool artists that are here in Austin, Texas with me. I'm so grateful to have them on the show. Finally, okay? Been stalking a little bit, but I want to welcome Nhat and GiGi to the show. What's up, you guys?
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
How's everything going?
Good. It's been busy.
Busy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Intense at times.
It's been busy this year, like being able to train more, because we haven't been teaching week classes. But then at the same time, like during the summer months and everything, we're traveling and stuff, and we didn't realize how crazy it was going to be having things back to back while also trying to host events and stuff too at the same time. So I think things are finally starting to wind down a little bit for us right now.
Sweet. All right, just let's, before we get into this awesome conversation, let's introduce yourself for anybody that may not know you. They might be new to Zouk. So introduce yourself, tell us what you do, and just a little bit of background about yourself.
You go first?
Yeah, I can go first. My name is GiGi Goana. I've been a Brazilian Zouk teacher since 2016. out of necessity, because at that time, Zouk was fairly small in Austin, and they needed help recruiting some assistants early on. And so I also started dancing Brazilian Zouk in 2016. And I've enjoyed the journey of, being in this dance, learning about the Brazilian culture, and getting to challenge myself through Brazilian Zouk. It's unlike any other dance that I've ever danced. I also have a background in salsa and bachata, and I started dancing those dances when I was 15. And before that, I did figure skating. So have been doing some solo sports growing up, and then was introduced to partner dancing for my quinceañera. So I wanted to do a little salsa choreo, and that's how I got into salsa dancing. And for my job, I also work full-time, and I'm a registered nurse, but currently work at a nonprofit as a clinical quality manager.
Okay.
My name is Nhat, and I'm a Brazilian Zouk teacher as well. And we started together around the same time, 2016. And before that, my experience in dancing was Dance Dance Revolution, DDR. And I was terrible at it. So instead of dancing on the pads, I would use the controller, and I was good at that. But I didn't really start dancing until I think it was 2010 when I was in college, like trying to learn salsa bachata so that I could have a social activity to be able to meet women.
Hey, that's how I started.
That's how it started. And, it worked out. I met GiGi, and here we are.
Nice.
And yes, she's my wife, so we're married.
Love it.
But yeah, so I started off with salsa bachata. Really grew to love dancing it. And enjoying it and being able to just enjoy the challenge and the interaction with people. And then eventually we got into Brazilian Zouk. So yeah.
Nice. Also, are y'all Longhorns?
Yes, we're both Longhorns.
We're both
Yeah, baby.
Hook 'em.
Yeah, let's go. Longhorn family. I love it.
Yeah.
Dope.
Both Longhorns.
Welcome. So, okay, I want to ask this. So for, let's say this year, 2024, what so far has been your biggest accomplishment, improvement, or like celebration for yourself?
I think one of the biggest accomplishments for myself this year is pushing myself to do more like higher level things, advanced things, and take more risk in my dance, and continuing to push myself to express more and not hide myself in my dance, because I am an introvert, and so I'm more naturally I tend to kind of shy away and hide who I am when we're demoing, dancing, whatever it may be, and it's something I'm still working on, but I know that like I've made improvements versus where I started to where I am now. So I'm happy about that. And I'm happy that I have been really just pushing myself to grow in many different ways. One of them being lambada, because I remember resisting learning lambada when GiGi really wanted to a few years back. And then this year, taking a little bit more of a deep dive and focusing and training more in it. So that's been really rewarding, and somewhat being able to keep the timing has been really nice too. So yeah, I would say like pushing myself more to express myself and to also take more risks in my dance has been very rewarding.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna piggyback off that for the other introverts out here, like myself too.
Yeah.
Like, what does it look like for you to express yourself more? Like, what are those moments that in your dance you're working on?
Yeah. So something that I work on a lot and I notice a lot, but it's still a struggle, is in the mental capacity, in the sense of like fear, right? And what I have is a lot of like self-doubt or judgment or insecurities of myself, of what I think others are thinking of me. And so sometimes I'll be like, oh, I think I look silly, or I shouldn't do that. That doesn't look good. Or it's like, I'm a teacher. I should be able to do this and that. And so like all these pressures and insecurities that I put on myself, I find like it inhibits my actual ability to be able to dance. And what I think about dance is it's the ability where you actually are expressing your true self. I think it's an art where you're very vulnerable when you can do that. And it's not easy to do, but like when you can do it, like it's very beautiful. But I really think like dance in itself is a vulnerable thing because just showing who you are on the dance floor, whether it be connecting with a partner when you're social dancing, or whether it be demoing in front of a bunch of students, or in a competition, all of that like is vulnerable, and I'm learning how to fight over the fear of feeling like not enough, or feeling like, oh, like that doesn't look good, or that's not how it should be, and just like embracing who I am in that moment. Something that still is difficult, but I know that for GiGi, it's been amazing to see her like flourish in that. And she's an inspiration to me in that, like seeing that for her and achieving that in her dance. Like I can't wait until like I can unlock that, and then see what we can continue to create together as a couple.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. All right, GiGi, what's your celebration?
It's actually quite similar to what Nat said.
Okay.
I feel like this year I really have taken the risk, I guess, of putting myself out there more and not shying away from the way I want to express myself, and just owning my movement and owning my expression, and having my own musicality as a follower, and being able to add to the dance, not just by following the movements that the lead is proposing, but also having moments where I'm really connecting to the song as well.
Yeah.
And embracing where I am now, instead of wanting to wish I was already at a different point in my dance. So that has been super empowering as well. What Nat is saying about being true to yourself and expressing yourself is very vulnerable, but at the same time is very empowering. To just let go of all of the inhibitions, all of the things that you tell yourself, and the limitations you put on yourself, and just saying like, it doesn't matter, I'm just gonna go out there and own where I am, be true to myself, enjoy myself, and have fun, because at the end of the day, we do this to have fun. We're dancing to have fun, and that I really have been trying to embrace that side of my dance, and that has been a huge win for me in my social dancing, but also in competitions. So that has been super fun in Jack and Jill competitions as well.
Awesome.
And then the other thing would be embracing more lambada, focusing and training more lambada. Has also been super rewarding and a huge celebration, just to be able to see how lambada adds to my Brazilian Zouk and my understanding of things that we already do in Brazilian Zouk, and sort of understanding the origin of where that comes from.
Yeah.
And seeing how almost Brazilian Zouk starts to make more sense because I'm learning lambada and I'm understanding more aspects of the culture and the history of our dance.
Right. Did Brazilian Zouk come from lambada or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Brazilian Zouk came from lambada. So lambada started off first. I don't know how much you want me to get into it.
Get into it.
So lambada started off as like this social dance, out of just kind of, from what I was told from DJ Hafro, who I met in Poland. He's been DJing for 30 years in Brazil. He was there when lambada was like growing and stuff. So from what he told me about the history is that lambada started off as a social dance, and part of it is culturally because like people at the times they weren't as happy. It was more poor and things like that, and so they used the music and the dance to be able to make them happy, and so it was in a way a celebration of like life or joy and stuff. And so it grew from that and just exploded with like the music craze, as well as that also started to go viral, not only in Brazil, but around the world. And then that spread also throughout all parts of Brazil. And then, so Renata Bassagna and Gilio Porto, so they're the ones who like are credited as the creators of Brazilian Zouk from Rio de Janeiro. And for them, essentially what they were trying to do was trying to make lambada easier and more accessible to people. because lambada in its origins, like it's very complicated, like in the sense of like it has like a lot of hip movement. It's very grounded. It also has like the head movement, and it's very circular. And so like they were trying to find ways to put it into ballroom dance, like they call it dança de salão, which is like Brazilian ballroom dancing.
Okay.
And so they were trying to find ways to make it more accessible for people, and basic Brazilian Zouk was the birth of that. But that being said, Brazilian Zouk is not easy, and neither is lambada. Both are very difficult, as they both have evolved. And now to where they are today, like they're very, very similar, like sometimes almost indistinguishable, but at the same time different as well. So it's very beautiful to see now, like lambada has kind of actually resurfaced and gained more popularity again, and has grown a lot alongside with Brazilian Zouk.
Okay,
So, yeah.
cool. That's very cool. Being a newbie to Brazilian Zouk, I was learning some lambada the first time, and I was like, I think I'm gonna stay with Brazilian Zouk, but it looks so cool as well.
Yeah.
When I see instructors dancing, you guys dancing, I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll get into it and crash and burn in the beginning, and then, you know, I guess take off. But it's really, really cool. I wanted to piggyback off of the celebrations. So 2024, we celebrated. Let's look at like last year or this year. What has been your maybe biggest hurdle, adversity that you have had to deal with or get over, or maybe you're still dealing with it, right? If you could share that. Has there been anything that's like been an obstacle last year or this year that you were able to get over?
Yeah. I think one thing is feeling like sometimes not having enough time that I would want to be able to dedicate ourselves to our training and our learning and our education in dance, and being able to feel, let's say, good enough to give back to our students, because sometimes it's like we're spreading ourselves so thin with our full-time jobs, and then traveling to teaching weekly classes too back in 2023, like multiple weekly classes, and then also like teaching private lessons, and then trying to find time for family, finding time for ourselves. I think that was one of the pretty difficult things, because it's like there were moments where we felt sometimes like we fell short of what our expectations of what we wanted to give to our students. And I think, you know, just going through the process and journey of as a teacher and learning that it's kind of, students are very forgiving, and that they understand that like we're all humans and that we make mistakes. So sometimes I had to remind myself of that, but it doesn't hurt any less, just because like I think we bear the responsibility as teachers of like how much we care for the students and how much you want to give to them, that sometimes it's like, like I really wish I could have done this more for them, you know? Even if they come and tell us, oh, it was a really nice class, but it's like, for me, I'm like, I wanted better for them, you know? And I think that's an adversity in terms of like, sometimes feeling not having enough time to be able to give to the ability that we want to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely understand that.
Yeah. So this year has been better in that sense of being able to kind of have that time for us to grow ourselves and to be able to share more deeply what we want with our students.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah, along the same line, it's you want to give the best to the students, and then sometimes you just feel like you're falling short of that. And I'll just like sometimes ruminate, like, oh, I should have done this, or I should have said that, or I should have, you know, done this exercise, or so that part's challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is teaching and instructing in front of people as introverts or more, you know, quieter people? I'm introverted. People always don't like, they don't believe me, but I'm super introverted. I get nervous speaking in front of people, even though I might not look like it. How has that journey been for y'all?
It's still a journey.
Yeah.
I think there are days that are better than others, and depending on how comfortable I am with the students. You know, if it's like a new community, I'm still trying to learn the way they learn, how they interact. Like, I'm kind of getting a feel for them, and so sometimes I'm like, I know, I make bad jokes, at least to Gigi. She doesn't think my jokes are funny, but I try anyways when we teach. And sometimes I'll try to throw out a joke there, and like it just kind of falls flat. And I was like, dang, like at least sometimes there's that pity laugh, you know, that like, oh, they're trying to be funny. And sometimes there's not. I'm like, dang, that was rough. And then, you know, I try to push through but then like as we bond with the students more, let's say for a weekender, like after the first day, like we warm up to them, they warm up to us. And then the next days it becomes easier. We get in more of a flow, and it becomes easier to just teach them and have more of that like, more comfortable interactions, let's say. Because like being an introvert, like coming out to, it's interesting though, when I come out to teach, I find myself like in teacher mode, like I'm less introverted, but then when I'm going back into like, let's say civilian mode or day-to-day mode, like I do become a little more introverted. Like I'm like, should I say hi to that person? I know them, but like I feel awkward. I wave, but they didn't say, so I'm like, oh, this is weird. You know, I don't want to feel like a creep or whatever. Like all these thoughts in my mind. And so if I don't say hi to someone, it's not because I'm being rude. It's just because I'm insecure. I'm introverted, but I am trying. So I think teacher mode, it's easier, but it's a little tricky, let's say the first time, and then after the first day, let's say, and then after that it gets better.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it's definitely gotten easier as the more and more we've done it. And when I first started teaching like larger workshops, I was like really nervous. I remember myself almost being afraid to like speak up, you know. And then over time, it did get easier to start speaking in public. And it's sort of like that mode that Nhat was talking about. It's almost like you just kind of build a little bit of a persona, not like a persona in terms of like you change your personality, but just like you're in this, you have a responsibility to rise up to, and so you want to do the best that you can at it. And also in my job, I conduct a lot of meetings and I do a lot of public speaking, so I feel like that's been able to translate to Zouk a little bit, and then vice versa. Like my teaching in Zouk has been able to help me in my day job as well. So just the practice, you know, practice doing it, and it gets easier over time.
Yeah, for sure. You guys, I remember when I was at UT and I was playing basketball, and we had this like banquet, and all I had to do, I wrote a prayer right before we ate. All I had to do was read off the paper the prayer. Nobody was even going to be looking at me.
Because they're praying.
Yeah, because I said, everybody bow your heads. And I read off of this paper. I was behind this like podium, right? I have never been so nervous in my life. My body, my legs were shaking like this. And I was like, what is this? Okay, read. Yeah. I remember that. It was so terrible. And I also, in college, like freshman year, I think, they put me in this speech class. Man, I went to the first day of speech class. They're talking about, okay, every week you're going to get in front of the class and you're going to talk about something you don't know about. I was like, I ain't coming back, and don't get me out of this class. I told my academic advisor, I'm not going back, so you might as well find some other class. I wish I would have stayed in there. I wish somebody would be like, you just do it. You need it. Oh, man, I hated it.
Oh, my God.
Always.
It's funny to me because, like, I find teaching easier than demoing or competing. Like, I get more nervous demoing. I remember I used to get extremely nervous for demoing because I was like just shaking, and Gigi's over here being calm as she can be, and like, you know, it was so funny. But like now it's better. Like definitely gotten more used to it. Yeah.
Do y'all get nervous before Jack and Jill's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What do you do to calm your nerves when you know in kind of a competition mode?
For me, I would say so I'm super nervous beforehand, and I'm kind of talking myself up, like, you got this. Yeah. You're just gonna go out there, be you, embrace you, have fun, you know, enjoy the moment. I paid money for this. I gotta
Right? Get your money out of it.
I gotta get my money's worth. I can't buckle under this pressure. I paid money for this.
Oh man.
Yeah, so I sit up there. I also try to enjoy the other competitors and see, like, cheer them on, see what they're doing, and enjoy. I'm trying to kind of get out of my own head and enjoy the process and seeing everyone else compete.
Yeah.
And then when I get up there to finally, dance with my partner, all of that just melts away. I forget about the people. I forget about my nerves. I just connect with my partner, and I just sync up with them and enjoy just that moment and that dance and just try to have fun, and it all goes away.
Yeah, that's cool.
Lucky her.
Yeah, right.
It's funny, like in intermediate, when I was in intermediate, it was a little bit easier for me in the sense that I wasn't as nervous. When I moved up to advanced, like it kind of felt like I reset my journey in that, like, I knew what I needed to do in intermediate, but then in advanced, like, I think I was trying to put too much pressure. Like, I need to prove myself. I need to show this ability, show this, that. And then because of all that, I was like psyching myself out. I was so nervous. Like, I was getting huge butterflies.
Yeah.
I almost felt like needing to vomit or needing to, like, the other side too. And I was like, why am I doing this to myself? Like, why am I competing? I'll see like other amazing leaders and followers like just go before me. I'm like, man, they were so good. Like, how am I gonna like live up to that? Like, how am I even gonna like compare? And like, I did like for a while, let it get to me. Like, I choked, and I wasn't able to be in the moment and like adapt. I would say a bigger accomplishment that I had recently in a recent Jack and Jill in Madrid was that even though I didn't place, I was able to calm myself more and be more present and just enjoy the dance with my partner and with the music.
Yeah.
Whereas before I was like trying to get out there, try to prove something. And it was something that I realized in myself, like, well, when I competed intermediate and when I like was able to do well, it was because I wasn't trying to prove anything. I was just there. I'm gonna have fun, and like I had confidence in myself. And so I'm learning to find that again and use that. Something that I learned from William, our mentor, William Teixeira. He told me that like when he gets nervous, he channels that nervous energy into basically energy to pump himself up and like knowing that he can do it.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been also working on as well, to just channel the nervous energy. It's like, no, I can do this. Like, nervousness just means I care and that I'm going to do well, know? So it's been a journey in that sense. And then something else that like kind of like from different like top level athletes like Noah Lyles and them, like they talk about like that they think about they're the winners, like they're gonna win no matter what. And it's not, I used to think like, oh, that's just being arrogant, that's being cocky. And it's not necessarily being arrogant or cocky. Like, it's just saying that like you believe in yourself and you can win. Because if you come in with an attitude like, oh, I can't win, I'm gonna lose, or I'm gonna be second best, or whatever it may be, then that's probably what's going to happen. Versus if you come in like, no, like, oh, I can do it. Like, I can win. I have a chance. I can be the best. I am the best for myself. I feel like you have a better chance of believing in yourself. So you're willing that into yourself. And the mind is such a powerful thing. So that's like another thing that I'm working on as well, of just like believing in myself more, having more confidence in me. And it's not to say like I'm better than anyone, but it's just like to know that I am good where I'm at, kind of thing,
Yeah.
So it's hard, but it's, yeah.
Definitely. I love that. I love that. Let's see. Okay. Y'all have a very unique style of dance, and when you guys are teaching and dancing, how do you describe your style?
How do you describe our style? I'm curious now. What do you think our style is?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just know it's different and I like it. What do I like about it? Let's see. For me, when I watch, it's y'all just flow together really well. Like, I don't know much about Zouk. Like, I'm not very technical, but I feel like I really can see the technique in what you're doing. I love the variations that you do. I was watching some of your videos today, and I was like, I like to try to guess like what the lead is gonna do and how it translates to the follow. And I'm like, yep, didn't see that coming, Nhat. But I don't know how to explain it. I love it. I love watching y'all dance.
Thank you.
There was one at Fuego, I think you did last year. You had like a cute like coral colored jumpsuit kind of on.
So we did that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I know what you're talking about. It was Love
in the Dark?
Yeah, Love in the Dark.
Yeah, I watched that one and was like, I like it.
So nervous in that one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
They say like nervousness doesn't go away. You just kind of
Manage it better.
manage it better
Mm-hmm.
and kill it. But yeah, how would you but describe your styles?
Yeah. I would say that it is very lambada inspired before we even started training lambada. So
That's interesting.
yeah, so we had already kind of enjoyed watching lambada and a lot of the power movements of lambada, and started kind of incorporating some of the things we were seeing, like golfinho, and we were seeing a lot of chicaches, and we're like, we want to, try to learn it, but added in on 3, so on Brazilian Zouk timing. And so I would say it's very lambada inspired, and also can be very flowy at times, and we do emphasize a lot of the connection between us. Like I wouldn't ever say that in one of our demos I ever went rogue, or like tried to, like separate from what he's doing.
Okay.
So I've always really very intensely focused on my following skills throughout my journey dancing, but also in our demos. I think I really prioritize not just showing, like being showy, because there could be that aspect as more performative and where the lead and follow kind of disconnect a little bit. I'm more so focused on truly replicating social dancing as much as I can in the demo, and maybe a little too much sometimes. So maybe working on being a little bit more like expressive.
Okay.
But yeah, that's kind of how I would describe it. And musical. We love musicality.
Yes.
Yeah, we love not just the big hits, but we like the little intricate instruments and the syncopations and the lyrics of the song.
Yeah, like kind of going back in terms of like a history of like why even like I continued with Zouk, because when I first was taking the classes, GiGi loved it. I was like, I hate this dance. I want to quit. And it was like my first class, but I continued for GiGi.
You said that?
I said that. I was like, I don't like this. I'm going to keep doing bachata. I'm better at that. And I was a terrible bachata dancer. Now I know. But it wasn't until we saw the demo of William and Paloma in San Francisco, Zouk Me SF 2016. It was the one where they danced to the song Marry Me. She was wearing the white jump bodysuit and he was wearing like the blue shirt, black. I remember it all.
Yeah.
It was that demo and then another demo where they demoed to a song called Hit 'Em Up Style. Oh, like I was like, you can dance Brazilian Zouk like that?
Yeah.
And it was just the musicality, the expression from both of them. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I want to dance like that. And so I would say like, basically like the base of our foundation of our dance comes from them, because like we like trained with them and learned from them a lot, like took so many classes and privates with them, and they're our mentors. And like it was at a point where at the beginning I tried to be too much like William, so my style was like Little William, and like I had some people say, oh, Little William, and I'm like, and at the time I didn't like understand, like it's good to have an inspiration and to, let's say, imitate your inspiration to learn. But then to become an artist and to become a teacher, I had to learn like, okay, now what makes me and what makes William, And so that was a journey in where I was like, okay, you know what? Like, I love how he dances, but I can't, and I shouldn't be him. We're two different people. And so now like our techniques and our foundations are from William and Paloma, but the movements of what we like and what inspire us and what makes us like, let's say, hit different things in the music is from what we take and what we like. So I watch, like Gigi said, like we watch like Henry and Jessica. Oh, I really love that lambada movement. Like let me incorporate that into our dance. Oh, I really like that hip hop movement from Pedrinho. Let me try to see how I can use that for me and for my body, you know? And so it's been a journey of just kind of like, I like this. Let me cherry pick this. Oh, I like what Mark and Melissa are doing here. Let me see if I can figure out how to use this and then use it for me, you know, and morphing things that we take from inspirations, but then making it become us is what I say is like our style, is that coming into knowing who we are as dancers. So like just owning what we like and not trying to be someone else, I think is like how I would describe our style is the best way I can say it. And I think it's still evolving because like there's so much for us to grow as dancers. Like we're pushing ourselves now to learn more like hip hop and things like that and incorporate that in more dance. Same with lambada. Like we love dancing to like more lyrical music, like as well, but we're also learning how to continue to express in that in different ways. And then also traditional. So trying to like not pigeonhole ourselves into just one style, but like diverse in multiple styles to be able to express lots of things. Because the beauty of Brazilian Zouk is that you can dance to a lot of different music.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I wouldn't say that our dance fits into a box. Like I think some artists can be sort of labeled as they're more connection lyrical dancers, or they have more of a hip hop style. I think we don't really fall into a box. We try our best to be as versatile as possible, but also challenging ourselves. Oh, I'm not so good at R&B. Let's put some R&B music and let's challenge ourselves to grow in this area.
Yeah.
I've been
I like that.
dragging her tooth and nail for the past few years to do R&B, and now she's on the train. Now she's on the R&B trains.
Nice. I love it. I love it. So we have some student questions, but first I need to ask this question. Lovebirds, how did y'all meet? We gotta know. We want the tea.
The short version or the long version?
Whatever version you got.
I'll let you say it.
Okay,
so Nhat was stalking you, right?
Kind of. No, I was kidding.
Okay, so we met. I want to say it was
Jester.
Yeah, in Jester. It's a dormitory on the UT campus, University of Texas campus. I was in a salsa dance team. Sometimes we switch to bachata dance team called Pasiones Unidas. And this team was a mix of UT students and then also people from the community. Yeah. And we would take a lot of students from another student organization called Texas Latin Dance. Nhat was part of Texas Latin Dance, and they asked him to join Pasiones Unidas. And I remember him coming to Jester. We were already practicing on the second floor because that's where a lot of students go and practice. Like hip, you see a little group dancing hip hop here. You see a little group dancing, like a Bollywood inspired dance. And you go over here and you see salsa and bachata dancers. It's really cool.
Good old Jester.
Good old Jester. And so we were up there on the second floor practicing, and I see Nhat walk in to like meet the team. And then as soon as I laid eyes on him, I was like, there's something special about him. I was like, I feel like I know him. I feel like something is telling me like this is an important moment. And
Dang.
yeah, I don't know. I didn't even know his name. Like I just had seen him, and so it was almost like that moment, But it was more complicated than that because I was in a relationship at the time. So I just remembered feeling this really strong connection to him. And then over time, he joined the team. We started becoming friends. We became best friends at a certain point, and from there we were, doing dancing together, boxing together. We were doing like a choreo, bachata choreo team.
Like a Daniel Desiree.
Desiree choreo team. We did archery together. Yeah. And then we just started really
bonded.
Yeah.
One of the things that really connected us too was we're both Christian, and so like bonding over God and having that value really also brought us really close together because it was something that was very important. Nice.
Yeah, and then he was about to go to India for a year to work there. And so he was getting, closer and closer to his time to go to India. And he was like, I got to tell her. Like, he made up his mind. He was going to tell me this important news.
Uh-oh, shoot the shot,
And
Nhat.
I was
Come
like,
on.
I didn't know anything about this, right? I'm still in a relationship.
I was being respectful, like all this time.
And he finally just, consults one of our mutual friends. He's like, hey, I feel this way about her. Should I tell her? And this mutual friend's like, yeah, I think you should tell her. And so one night he basically confesses his love to me. He's like, I love you.
I see you as a mother of my child.
I see you as a mother of my kids. I see you as my future wife. Like,
Come on, Nhat. Get him.
He just put it all out there. And, I told him, like, I've loved you since the first moment I saw you.
Oh, man. That's awesome.
My jaw dropped. I was like, what?
Nice.
I can't believe that. So it was just like, I felt like, she's my first girlfriend ever, my first and only girlfriend ever, and not my wife, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, like, I felt like I had waited, how old was I, 23, 22 years all my life trying to, like, find the right person that, like, let's say, fit everything that I wanted. And GiGi is it. And, like,
Dang.
I was just so happy. I was like, man, I'm so lucky,
Yeah.
Like, I didn't understand norms, unfortunately, of, like, dating norms and stuff like that. So, like, she had broken up with her boyfriend after, like, us telling that we love each other. And it's like, okay, well, let's do the right thing. So she broke up with her boyfriend. And then dumb me, like, basically, like, I didn't wait too long. And I asked, will you be my girlfriend? Because I was thinking, like, well, like, why wait if we know we love each other? Like, it doesn't make sense. I wish I did, but at the same time, it's okay, like, life is messy, and I'm happy, how it turned out, like, where we are right now, and it made us stronger, so yeah.
I love it. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
When you know, you know.
Exactly.
you
know, you know. I gotta find my GiGi. Find my GiGi. That's awesome.
Yeah,
all right,
yeah.
Y'all ready?
Yes.
So we have a couple student questions. These are awesome, by the way. All right, so the first one is going to be, so what's the process y'all go through to make your classes and prepare for your classes?
It really depends, but let's say for a congress or workshop, or like, sometimes they'll give us, like, okay, this is at this level, so you're going to teach beginner level or advanced level, right? And so we'll kind of see, like, who are the teachers there, where are they teaching, what's the theme, if they want any theme, if not, okay. We'll, like, kind of gauge, like, what the level of the students are when we're there and dance, like, on the first night. And then that gives us kind of an idea of how to plan the class. And so what we usually like to do is we'll like to have, like, a concept, but to express that concept to students, we'll have a move. And what we've been trying to do, like, more and more is, like, trying to find a move that is, like, unique, that will get the students to think outside the box a little bit more, but at the same time still give them something that they can use and learn, and also be able to use the technique, not in just that move, but in other parts of their dance. So they feel like they take away more than just a movement, So we kind of plan it from there, and then start to try to figure out, like, okay, like, how what's the best way to break down this move for the lead and the follower? Like, how is the flow of the class going to go? Like, we want to make sure that, okay, this, like, what we kind of do is, like, I'll teach GiGi the lead part, so she'll learn the lead, and then she'll teach me the follow. And as we're going through that process, we're finding, like, okay, that explanation wasn't very clear. I didn't understand what you're trying to say. And so we're already kind of foreseeing what we expect maybe students may ask when they're taking the class. So that's helped us a lot too as we're preparing for the class.
On top of that, because I am a lead as well as a follower, but I'm primarily a follower. So as I'm trying to do this movement as a lead, Nhat is noticing the errors that I kind of am starting to show, and so then we make note. Okay, this could be possibly what happens in the class. So we just make a note. Okay, like, let's see if this comes up, and if it does, we have a plan to address it. Same thing with Nhat as he's following. And then we're saying, oh, okay, the chest is a little bit, wrong here, and so maybe I'll keep that in the back pocket, just in case that happens with the followers in the class. But then so we'll have the concept, we'll have the movement, we'll have the exercises that we're going to do in the class.
That's the thing. We really love doing exercises because like we feel in a class, and especially in a bigger workshop, it's hard for the students to feel every student, right?
Yeah.
And so for my journey in my dance, like something that's been the hardest for me is body awareness and feeling and understanding sensations of things. And so we try to craft exercises that will help students to really understand what that movement feels like, so that they have a more likelihood of being able to achieve the technique, whatever it may be.
But with these exercises, we're trying to gamify them a little bit more, so making them more engaging and more fun for people in the class. So it's not just like, I'm just going to stand here and feel this exercise, right? It's going to be them not realizing that they're practicing something. I mean, they're realizing what they're doing, but it's more fun. It's more fun, a more fun process.
It's something that actually is more, let's say, recent development in our teaching, because we're still growing as teachers. That actually Jerry Lai helped us with, because he's like pushing into that route more of like the play space and being play as teaching.
Okay.
So it's been really fun to try to like switch our brains to like, okay, how do I make this class or this exercise that makes the students feel like they're learning but having fun, you know? Because like I feel you learn a lot more and faster, and you're more engaged when you're having fun, and that's why we're here, is to have fun. So yeah, that's part of what we're.
And then when you're in the class, pivoting as necessary. That's something we're also like tweaking in our teaching style, and then also observing, like, okay, this is what I thought I needed to talk to them about, but actually they have 50% of this. They're just struggling with like, 20% of what I thought. So then really like tailoring it to what the students are needing in that moment.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. Cool. What we got here? Okay. How do you guys balance the dynamics between training/dance, work to personal life? How do you balance everything?
You don't sleep. No, I'm just kidding.
You said don't sleep?
You don't sleep.
You can't.
No. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I can go first. So I think a way that we found to balance that was to take weekly classes off of our plate, because since 2016, apart from some of the pandemic, we were teaching weekly in Austin for many years, and that started to kind of hinder our own professional growth. And so we were like, okay, we need to take something off and be able to now focus on, our careers, because I was also new into my career. Nat was also changing careers, and starting to focus more on where we wanted to be professionally, and then also starting to travel a little bit more. So just noticing, like, okay, what do we need in this moment in our lives? Like, I want to continue to teach weekly, but it just wasn't gonna, something had to budge. And so just kind of listening to like what our needs are, what our desires are, what life looks like right now, and being able to, as hard as it was, listen to what we needed to do.
Yeah. I think for me, like, I'm very stubborn, so like I was willing to continue and keep pushing and pushing. Whereas GiGi's like, no, we're like, this is not helping us. And so in terms of balance, I'm learning how to have balance, let's say. But I really try to like, because like I get to work from home, so I have a little bit more flexibility than GiGi does. So like I'll try to like take care of certain things like at home that she can't. And then by the time she gets home, like I'm like, okay, that's out of the way. So then now we have time to train. Whatever it may be. And just kind of managing and being more disciplined and like, okay, we can't go hang out with friends right now because what's our goal? We need to train, we need to focus. And like making those sacrifices while also at the same time sometimes being like, okay, hey, we've been working really hard. Let's have that time where we can be more social, where we can hang out more, So just having that discipline has been difficult, but a necessity to be able to balance everything. And yeah, I mean, that's
and prioritizing family as well. Seeing, you know, my brother, my mom, and needing to spend more time to see my dad as well, and then seeing your family.
My family as well. So like all that's being factored into, and so like, you know, we'll have to like sacrifice certain things. Sometimes it'll be like, okay, like I guess like we can't train as much for today, or like we're gonna take a break for training for today so we can spend time with family, you know, and or having time for ourselves. So sometimes knowing when to take that pause so that way we can have a life outside of just dance.
Right.
Because there was definitely moments where it was like I was so like, we gotta do this, we gotta work really, really hard. We still do, but she's like, but we're also married. Like, can we have a life outside of just dance? I'm like, you're right. Okay, you know. Sometimes I forget because it's just like we do everything basically together, and it's like, oh, but you're here with me. It's like, but that's still not quality time.
Sure.
So yeah, it's just sometimes learning like enough is enough, and being okay with this is enough training, or this is enough of whatever it may be, and having the discipline to say no. Yeah.
Awesome. Where's family at for y'all?
My parents live in Austin, like 15 minutes away from us.
Okay.
My older brother lives in LA, and then my younger brother lives in New York right now.
Cool.
Yeah, my family's, my dad's in Dallas, and then my mom is in Houston.
Cool. Okay. Cool. Let me see. What else we got? We got some good questions. So this one is, how do you train and how do you keep it fun?
So training is hard, right? I think, and it's even harder when you're with someone that you are have a personal relationship with. Like, because we're married and we have an intimate relationship, I take everything she says very personally. I take it like, but I take it personally in the sense of like, I'm not good enough, or I'm not good enough as your dance partner. And that was one of the hardest things. Now in our training, like I'm learning to just like understand that is every feedback she's giving is to help me to grow, and it's not meant in a harmful way. And that when we train, like try to have like, okay, let's plan what we're going to train today. Let's have this focus goal or 1 or 2 goals. Okay. And then when we train, like this is what we're going to focus on, and try not to like go too far off on tangents. Because like we'll have trainings like that where like, oh, but then this snowballs into like a bigger thing and many other things. And then we like spend like hours and then like she's tired. And then so definitely like having a focus goal per training session. And then having different trainings like that's specific for like this training is going to be just social dancing, so don't give anyone feedback. We're just going to social dance and just going to have fun. Because it's also like you need to remember how to have fun when you train, and if you're only training and focusing on fixing and technical things, then you forget about like why you dance in the first place. And so that's like the other training is learning to let go and shut off that, let's say, more judgmental brain side of your brain when you train. So that's more like the fun side. The technical side is also fun too. And what we do is we think about like being just more open to possibilities and open to like, oh, this is how you can do something, or this is how I can improve now because like I'm exploring something else, you know, and taking each, let's say, discovery or what was like a failure and seeing that as a possibility to grow has made things more fun, rather than before I used to think of like a failure as like, I'm terrible, I can't do this. And I would shut myself down and I wasn't able to grow as fast as I could. And so I think like having that mindset helps training to be a lot more fun.
Okay.
Want to add anything?
I think fun, it looks different for different people. And this kind of reminds me of the love language, like your dance love language. So some people find challenging moves like their love language, or some people find like the connection, their love language, musicality, and so on and so forth. So for me, I would say it's probably challenge. Like challenge is something that I really thrive off of and is really fun for me, right? So we'll definitely have those practices where we're trying something at that next like thing I want to reach, the next move I want to get down, or the next skill that I want to learn. And so that keeps it super fun and super interesting for me. And then the other thing is being expressive. like that's a challenge for me, but at the same time I'm finding it super fun. So having those practices where we're just social dancing but challenging ourselves to express to the music however we want to, in a musical way or in however you want to. So, but I think part of our trainings definitely, like Nat said, have a focus, and that focus will be a different aspect of fun. Like they're all fun to some degree, but in a slightly different way. Fun because it's challenging. Fun because we're working on musicality. Fun because
we're learning something new.
We're learning something new. We get so excited when we learn something new about the basics, about the foundation.
Yeah.
Like it's like this never-ending journey, like learning about the freaking basics of the foundation. And it really, really, like, we can nerd out about, like learning about those little tiny details, and we thrive off of new knowledge too. Just like as we're exploring, just a new discovery is like lights up, our hearts,
Yeah. It's been really, really nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love learning about the fundamentals too. So like when I go to like even Divergence and different festivals, I'm like, I'll do some of the challenging ones just to challenge myself a little bit, but like I love to see what people are teaching in the fundamentals. I always learn something new. Like it can be the same move, but it's like, I don't know, different entrance or exit or something like that. Yeah. And I'll learn something new. Maybe it's taught the same way, but I pick something up this second or third time that I've been taught it, and I'm like, oh, I missed that before, So I love the fundamentals as well.
Yeah, we still go to foundational classes, and
I love going to foundational classes because like now having more understanding, when I go to the class, like it's a possibility to learn something new. It's a possibility to look at a different way of like a foundation being taught, but it's also a way for me to essentially train my foundations, like it's because it's like I get to see like how strong is my foundation. Am I able to lead my partner based off of the technique they're asking for, based off of my technique that I'm using, and like how clear do I remember this? Because it's like as we progress in your journey, you start to lose foundations, and it's just a nature because your focus is on different things, and so you always are coming back. And so like for me, it's fun to kind of go back and then like see, essentially challenge myself. Like how well can I do it? Okay, cool, I can do it well. Now, can I push it to the next level? Can I explore within this? And so I start to make discoveries within the foundational classes too. So it's really nice.
Yeah, cool. That's been fun, doing a foundational movement in our training, and then seeing like what are all the variations we can like dream up or come up with for this foundational movement. And like Nat said, foundations and your basics are not something you can check off and say, I have this now, I've learned it, I'm good to go. It's something that requires continuous maintenance. So we still find ourselves like, oh, our viradinha feels a little weird. Yeah. And like we go back to viradinha.
The other day, actually. That we talked about that.
Yeah. Perfect.
Because like I used to like to like, when in the beginning of my journey, I used to think like, I just learned viradinha, I just learned basic, I just learned socinho, lateral, like I'm good, I can move on to the next thing. And then like I would get so frustrated because then like we'd train and then GiGi like, actually your viradinha needs more work. Actually like this feels better, this, and I was like, but why didn't you tell me before? Like we already did this. Like I thought I was good, and I was just like frustrated because I thought I was progressing, but now I feel like I'm going back. And it kind of comes back to the schooling system. It's like, oh, we go and we learn something, we check it off, we take a test, and then okay, we learned it, right? But I realized like learning is a never-ending process, and we always go back to learn more, and we go forward, we go back, we go forward, and enjoy it. Like don't feel like there's an end. Otherwise, you'll just be frustrated,
Got it. Yeah. Cool. This has been such an amazing conversation. I have a couple more questions and we'll wrap it up. But for the beginners, let's just say anybody who's just starting, a true newbie, and then let's say up to like 3 years of dancing socially and doing festivals and things. What should those dancers be focusing on? Or what do those dancers typically miss, on their journey?
Foundations, basically.
Foundations.
But more than just, let's say, foundations, because it's kind of broad and easy to say, but like Um, Understanding the patterns of the dance, because if you understand the basic, like the basic step and how that translates into the other basic steps, then you can more easily break down higher level movements, because higher level movements are just like basic foundational things like put together, right? And so really focusing on that and honing in on like the intricacy of like, okay, how do I weight transfer? How does like my rotation of my torso affect my partner? You know, how do I like move myself across the floor so I still feel grounded, but like be able to move smoothly? Just different things like that. And being patient with that journey is going to make the rest of the journey a lot easier and faster. But that being said, still be curious and be okay with challenging yourself to do the harder things, the things that you feel maybe you're not ready for. I know it's blasphemy, but the reason why I say that is because then you can kind of see like, oh, that's where I'm missing in my foundation. Oh, that's where that puzzle piece fits. That's why I'm doing this down here, so I can understand how to do it here, you know? And so then you have that journey of pushing yourself, like doing basic foundational things, and then you're going up to higher level things, and you come back and forth. And that allows you to have a bigger picture rather than feeling like I can only do the basic and I am stuck here and I'm too afraid to start head movement. I'm too afraid to do all these other things. And I think not having fear to explore while also being patient and knowing where your limits are. And then just expressing yourself, having fun, like already start to do that from the beginning. Like don't feel like train, and then you start to stifle yourself as a dancer and as a person, because then you forget that like, well, you started to dance to have fun, you know? So remembering that will help the journey so much more.
Yeah, I would say understanding the responsibility that you have as a follower and leader to never hurt anyone else. Just understanding like, because we're in a partner dance, there's a potential that as a leader I can hurt my follower, and as a follower I can hurt my leader. And then taking that responsibility to always prioritize the safety of yourself and your partner. That's huge. I think people should really keep that in the front of their mind when they do any social dance. The other thing is filling your cup, like Nhat said. Like, what is it that keeps you going, that feeds you? If you just stay like, I'm just gonna learn my basic steps and that's all I'm gonna learn, then that can get a little mundane and can maybe drive you away from your joy for Zouk. So still finding like what it is about Zouk that you love and enjoy, and still being part of that, partaking in that in your dance. And then also for me, it's like I'm super curious about the sensation of my basic steps, like weight transfers, and understanding what a weight transfer feels like when I go up and over, or when I go down and under, or when I go flat, or how I can resist the floor, like those tiny little minute things that I can just do by myself. Doing my lateral and feeling maybe different techniques that I can incorporate in my lateral, and what works best for me, and what can I use in what situation, because I don't think there's one way to do any one thing. There's many ways to do a certain thing, but it might make more sense in this situation, less sense in this situation. So having an open mind to take in multiple techniques and ways of doing the same thing, because you might use it at some point. It's not so black and white that it's like there's a right and a wrong way to do it. There's maybe a more efficient way, or 2 or 3 or 4 efficient ways to do something, and one will come into play in a way that makes more sense in a certain scenario. And then for me, really being curious as a follower about not assuming the movement, right? So like a lateral is a lateral when I'm practicing it by myself. But when I'm social dancing, a lateral is not a lateral. A lateral could be maybe a directional weight transfer, and then a pivot, and then a grounding. But I'm really thinking about feeling every component, still in flow, but I'm really waiting to feel every single component instead of assuming this is lateral. Because I don't know. Maybe they'll do S. Maybe I'll start lateral and step before I realize, oh, they try to do S this time. Just a pivot. So I don't assume. I don't assume lateral is lateral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually
cool.
something I want to add is as a student, especially if you don't have a lot of body awareness when you're learning, is to already start to kind of hone in on what does this feel like in my body, this movement, whatever it may be, and then what does it feel like when I'm with my partner? You know, being able to start and focus your mind on that will help a lot as you grow and learn, because when you're social dancing, you're out in the wild, right? You can't look in the mirror. You can't like look and see and check, hey, did that look good? You know, like you have to be able to kind of feel it for yourself. And so the more you can start to do that when you're learning from the beginning, the easier it becomes, because then you start to have little markers in your body of like, this is how that sensation feels and how I can recreate it with another partner, and how that sensation can be stronger or less depending on the partner or depending on whatever you're trying to create. And being willing to explore those feelings and sensations rather than just feeling like there's only one possible way will help so much for beginners, I feel.
Okay, that's good. I'm taking all these notes. So my last question, you guys, is for anybody that loves Zouk and they want to become instructors, or like they're curious about like maybe I can do this for a career or start it. What would be y'all's like maybe top 3 things? How do you start? How would you start to become an instructor with everything you know now?
I think one of the first things is patience. And what I mean by that is like patience with your own journey of learning and growing, and not feeling like you need to get out there and teach already. The reason why I say that is like that was also part of our journey. I remember there was a time where I was like, man, I think we can go out there and teach, but we should. And she's like, no, like we still need to train. We still need to have lots of grow in our dance. And like when our time is ready, like our time will be there for us. And then when we're out there, like we'll be able to show our stuff, you know? And so if you're patient with yourself as a student, as you're learning to become a teacher, I think that will speak in your dance, because it will show in the quality of your dancing. Teaching is another thing, but like you also work on your teaching, and then it will show in your teaching too, you know? Get as much practice as you can into the dancing, into the teaching. And then I think the other thing is, why do you want to teach? Yeah. Why are you choosing to that? And really understanding that. Because if your intention is to teach is because you want to be famous and do all this and that, and it's like you want like status and stuff like that, well, that's probably not going to drive you to be a teacher. You know, you're not going to have enough motivation, because like even for the top of the people, like they have also told me like there are days and times when they don't feel at the top, or they don't feel motivated or whatever, you know? And if you're relying on that to motivate you to be a teacher, then it's not going to last. It's going to be a very short career. Yeah. But if your intention is like, if you find your intention like, okay, this is what drives me. I really want to help people. I really want to grow people, or whatever it may be. And you feel that that's going to fuel you for your entire career, then I think that will help a lot. So being true to yourself, really working hard, training, having patience with your journey, while also being willing to push yourself to like, okay, I think I'm ready to take that jump and leap, and not just feel like I have to train. And then once I'm like here, then I can do it. Like still have those moments where like, okay, I'm going to take a little step. I'm going to teach in my local community. I'm going to like take a smaller teaching opportunity. And then that will start to you'll build confidence. Yeah. And then you'll learn things that you wouldn't have if you hadn't taken that opportunity. But not already trying to be like, I'm going to go and be like at the big Congress because like I've been training for like half a year, you know, kind of thing. Yeah. So having that self-awareness and humbleness as well is very important, I feel.
Makes sense.
I would say a lot of self-study and understanding techniques and movements for yourself, and being able to explain things in your own words instead of regurgitating what your teacher said. So then it has to be like, why are they hiring you if they can just hire the teacher? There needs to be some sort of new way that you put it, or new, example that you're giving, or imagery, or there's something about you that sets you apart, from some of the other teachers. The other thing is continuous learning, right? You're still always like that mentality of like, I'm always still a beginner in some way. I'm still always learning, and still going to other classes to see how other people are teaching. Like see, not only to learn like the content of the class, but like what examples are the teachers giving? What, like exercises are they giving in the class? How are they structuring it? How are they touching that student's emotions? Like all of that stuff is techniques that you can start tapping into in your own teaching style. So going into classes with the curiosity of how is that teacher teaching? Like people that you admire, people that you look up to. I never get bored in a class. It could be the most beginner, basic class ever, but I'm so fascinated by the way the teacher's teaching, especially as a teacher. I'm always looking at how is that teacher teaching and what techniques are they implementing. So always being curious, always learning, and yeah, I think that's it.
Awesome. Well, let's close it out. Where will y'all be in 5 years? What's that picture look like? What's the vision?
Let's see if our pictures are
Speak
the
it.
same.
Speak it into existence.
You want to say your version and my version?
No, you can say your version.
Okay. Where I see us in 5 years is that we will have quit our daytime jobs so that we can do dance full time and focus on it to explore the craft and art and explore ourselves as teachers to be able to give our all to the students and to the world and share the happiness of both Brazilian Zouk and Lambada and just as people too, and being able to share as much of the culture too as possible. Hopefully being able to travel around the world and teach and DJ as well.
Yep.
I think that's the goal in 5 years.
Yeah, that lines up with my vision too. And maybe like expanding in new realms of dance, like maybe doing more performances, because that's something we're not very good at, or we're not very experienced at. And then also, being better at our workshop game, and staying maybe in certain countries or cities for an extended period of time. So like doing a residency, I think that'd be super nice.
Oh, and just continuing to really express ourselves in our art and not feeling held back. That is definitely what I want sooner than 5 years, but definitely in 5 years, I see that we can do it and being able to push our dance to that level that we really, really want it to be.
That's awesome. You guys, you're already doing it. You're going to get there way before 5 years. Thank you so much for joining me on the show and allowing me to ask you questions and share your story and your journey. So, this has been amazing. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Really appreciate
Incredible.
it.
I appreciate the time with you.
Yes.
Love it. All right, you guys. I'm going to see you when I see you. Peace.
Bye.
Boom.